Hey guys, I'm Keiswetter.
And I'm Aubree Karlin.
Thanks for joining us today to talk about some top marketing hacks and apps. What a year it has been. So many crazy experiences. And I want to start off by sharing kind of a crazy experience that I had with an app as well. So, one big tradition at our house is we like to take our kids to the movies, right? We live in a little town in rural Kansas, and that's kind of the thing to do in the winter because we don't have, bowling alleys or YMCAs or big recs, things like that. So usually on Friday or Saturday night, we go to the movie with the kids. Well, my husband was gone one evening, and so the kids want to go to the movie. And of course, they wanted to bring a friend, right? Because brother and sister, they're too cool for each other. So they had to bring a pal, for each of them to hang out with. So I'm like, cool, great idea. Let's go to the movie with 4 kids. Obviously, if you go to the movie with 4 kids, you don't know what's going to happen. Expect the unexpected, right?
Yep.
Is probably what they say. So one thing that's most likely going to happen during this movie night with 4 children is somebody's going to have to go to the bathroom, Aubree. Okay? Somebody's gonna have to pee, and it's always going to be at the worst time. It'd be like Super Bowl tied, 4th quarter, 10 seconds left, kicking the field goal. Mom, I gotta pee, right? That would so be my luck. So you gotta have a plan for that. I'm a planner type. That's just my personality. So obviously, there's an app for that, right? It's called RunP. RunP. So what this app does, and yes, there's an app for that. So what it does is it tells you, you download the app or go to the website and you pick the movie that you're gonna go see, and it literally tells you the best times during that movie to pee.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so it'll be like when John, takes the Vikings to whatever, over the mountain at 2 hours and 10 minutes, go as fast as you can.
I really want to go see.
I feel like, I'm such a director, obviously, right? But it's so crazy because it literally tells you, true story, it'll tell you exactly the places
cool.
that you need to go to the bathroom. So if anybody wanted to know all the amazing tips and tricks, just ask, right?
Yeah.
So I guess really the point of that is that you guys, there's an app for everything now. I mean, obviously things have changed so much even in the last 6 months. Lives have just been crazy. And a lot of us have found ourselves working remotely and trying to be more efficient with our time as new hats are getting thrown on everybody every day, right? And we're having to change all the time. And I just put a few silly ones up there, but Fake an Excuse is an app if you need an excuse to come up with to get out of something. Totally don't tell my boss that. But, if you need a good one, there's some good ones on there. So anyway, so the big thing with this, when we were putting this together, was what are some apps that can make our lives easier at work, right? Yeah. I mean, if there's one that can make life easier at home and work, I am game. I will download that today. Put that in comments here, y'all. But what can we do to make our work lives easier? So I'm going to cover a lot of kind of the general ones that would apply to anybody really in your organization. And then Aubree, she is our digital marketing specialist on our team at Nex-Tech. She's super good at what she does and knows all of the social and digital efforts. And so I'm would rather have her cover that part of it. And then obviously when we're done at the end, we'll open up for questions for everybody as well. So, okay, one thing that I struggle with, and it's really funny because when we were setting up for this presentation 20 minutes ago or 30 minutes ago, somebody, not naming names, that's filming this webinar couldn't remember their password, right? Isn't that funny? But that's something that I struggle with, is some of them, you have to have a capital letter, some of them have to have a special character, some have to have 2.
And they tell you not to use the same password for everything, which makes it even harder. So,
and then I do that anyway, except for then, some of them prompt you to change after a week or a month, and then you've got 28,000 passwords, and then I do every time, I'm just forgot my password, then I reset it.
It's the worst. Yeah.
It is. So, there's a really cool app that a lot of us use at Nex-Tech called Dashlane. And what this does is it helps you store a bunch of your passwords. Your just general email, if you have a personal Gmail, you have bank account, whatever you want to put in there. Amazon. Oh, Amazon knows mine. That one-click shopping is dangerous.
Yes, for sure.
I got to change it because when my husband figures out what it is, he's more dangerous than me. It's like, oh, change password. So just a cool app that you can download, store a bunch of passwords, and then as you update them, and it can also generate random passwords for you as well, which is cool because sometimes we get in the habit of doing the same ones, like our dog. So if you see these posts on Facebook where people are engaging with you and it's like, what's your mom's last name? And what year did you graduate? What street did you grow up on? It all sounds like fun and games, but some hacker out there is watching that, asking or trying to find that info because they're going to try to get your password.
Handing it to them.
So exactly. Okay. Other thing, I have OCD like no other ever of all time. My husband would super attest to this. So I can't handle clutter. It's just my thing. Like even this, just with this mouse here, I look at it and I'm like, stop looking at me, mouse. But nothing is worse than you get a bunch of papers, that come in, and things are better now that there's a lot of things that are electronic, but we still get a lot of things. Even if you go to a conference, for example, and you take a bunch of notes, and then it's like, what do? You throw them in a stinking drawer somewhere, and you never look at them again. So, scanning those and being able to put them into an electronic file is so helpful. And I did not realize until a while back we were doing our credit card receipts for work. And you can actually use your Notes app on your iPhone to scan PDFs. I had no idea. This is such an easy thing, not having to even leave the room and go to the scanner and come back or change each page. It's just boom. So you open your Notes app, okay? And then in the bottom right corner, you'll click the new button. Basically, it looks like a little pencil kind of on it. Then you'll click Scan Documents. And then when you click that, it'll open and you're gonna click the camera button. Okay, and then it is going to open up like you're taking a picture. It's going to open your camera app basically. And I took a beautiful picture of my dirty keyboard that I realized really needed clean. I kept trying to change the angle, and I was like, is there one spot that doesn't look like I'm just a filthy beast on this keyboard? It was so bad. But anyway, so then you'll click the white button in the middle, and what it does then is it captures that and it makes it into a actual PDF, and then it'll give you the option to email it, save it, whatever, which is so much easier, especially if you're working remote. Yeah.
So I got married a few weeks ago, and they have completely closed down the courthouses, and so I had to do my marriage license using a similar method to this.
No kidding.
Fun fact, they're being accepted for really important documents. So.
All of these changing their names. And just so you guys know, you should all go out and get married because IT loves when you change your last name. They love it. All right, next one. This is a big one that we talk about a lot in marketing. So proofreading and spell checking, right? We have a full-time proofreader on staff, right? We try to check over, we have them check over, but at the end of the day, you guys, sometimes you just miss stuff. Yeah. Especially if you were the one writing it, you have an idea in your mind what was going to be there, so you'll just kind of read over it. So, and obviously, if it's a professional thing, you can't say check yourself, right? It's check yourself, right? There's times to be a little more professional. So Grammarly is a really cool website that's out there. It has a Chrome extension. There's app availabilities for it as well. What I really like about it, though, is it gives real-time suggestions, as you're typing an email out or typing a Facebook status or stuff like that. And it's not just the grammar or the spelling. Punctuation, and the spelling. It's making it sound a little better or less.
Real English rules.
Yes, exactly.
It's your English teacher in high school underlining it for you.
It is. She's got her meter stick and she's like, wrong.
No. I love Grammarly. I use this a lot. It has saved my butt many times. And I, like you mentioned, the Chrome extension, that's how I use it myself. And love it.
Because we're Mac people. Yes. IT also loves Macs, y'all, just so you know. So super cool stuff, though. And like I said, here's kind of an example of how they'll go through and make real-time suggestions for you. So I'd really, it appears really maybe unnecessary in this sense. So instead of saying, I'd really appreciate you, it's just, I'd appreciate you. So it tries to make you not sound overly not aggressive, but overly detailed or which some of us with OCD, we need Grammarly, okay?
Yeah.
Be the funny guy sometimes is okay, right? Like, obviously, especially with all the stuff that's gone on lately, there's just been so much sadness and heavy stuff and just a lot of negativity and stuff. So sometimes it's nice for people to see something, you know, light. And this is one of my favorite gifts anyway. This baby's like so happy. It's like, oh, this is me when I get on the scale. I'm all like, yeah. And then I look down, I'm like, ooh, I'm like a freaking deer in the headlights.
Oh my goodness.
So Giphy is super cool. And Aubree, I'm going to let you talk a second about it because you know probably a little bit more than I do since you've actually built some of these for Nex-Tech.
Yeah.
And here's our examples of some of our Nex-Tech. Do you want to kind of tell them what you've used it for and why they would want to use it?
Sure. So you're all probably familiar with GIFs or GIFs. We'll have that discussion later. But Giphy is just one of those platforms. You can download the app if you want to your phone, but where you can go find these GIFs. And then also if you are a brand or business, you can have a brand channel, which is what we've done for Nex-Tech. You have to apply for it. It's a pretty easy process, but you can put your own stickers or GIFs out there for your own business. We have given these out to some of our employees, this link basically, and they can use these GIFs in their own PowerPoint presentations or add them to their emails or just wherever you can add GIFs. Some of our employees have implemented them. So it's been a really fun little thing.
Well, and what's cool is there's movement in them as well. So sometimes, we talk about stopping the finger scroll, so like when someone's scrolling, and even if you don't want to do a video necessarily on a post, but you just want something that catches eye movement, that's a great, example. And this guy is the one that we were talking about that forgot his password that's filming us. I don't know if you can see how muscular he is. We might need him to zoom in on himself. It's totally him in the picture.
One thing I'll mention too, I forgot, was with stories. So if you're using Snapchat or Instagram and you want to add stickers to those snaps or pictures you've taken, Giphy is available on both of those apps, and so you can add our stickers to those posts. So,
awesome.
Yeah, out there for everyone to find.
Good tip. I love it. Okay, so one thing that I struggle with too, like sometimes I just feel uninspired or I'm like trying to lay something out and I'm like, I need to schedule my post for the week or I need to do something. I'm like, I don't know where to start. And even sometimes like, you want to stay within your brand set of colors, but you want something maybe a little bit different, for this set. I struggle with figuring out like sometimes what colors go with what. Like, I mean, I can put a mean outfit together, but when it's on a computer screen, it's just different for me. It feels more, I don't know, just not scary, but just a bigger task. So there's a super cool website, and it's coolers.co, not .com, okay? So coolers.co. And what you do is you'll go to the website and you'll actually start the generator, the color generator, and click on the space bar. And what it does, so here's the start the generator button. So what it does is it will actually start showing you different color palettes that will work together. So it just kind of gives you that whim. Maybe it's a beachy type of, scene that you're wanting to have in the background because, who doesn't want to be at the beach, right? Yeah. Your honeymoon, you were supposed to be at the beach, right?
Let's not talk
Table
about
Rock, though, that's a pretty legit place to be.
I think that one of the benefits with this is that sometimes the things that you wouldn't expect, colors that go together, they really look nice together. So yeah, it's one of those things. You might think blue, red, purple is what this post needed, but sometimes by generating just a random mix of 5 that can really take it to the next level.
I think my 10-year-old boy needs this because he gets himself dressed for school every day, and the things that he comes out of his room with, literally, I think it is blue, red, purple, and yellow and orange all at the same time. So also another use for this website, getting your children dressed.
I'd like to see that.
Yes. So Aubree, I'm going to let you kind of take over a little bit on the slides and start with talking about some design tips for some of us not naming names that are non-designers, okay?
Yeah, my background is in graphic design, but I do a little bit more digital marketing these days. But I get these questions a lot from a lot of our clients, like what are some things that we need to keep in mind when we're doing graphics ourselves? So there's a good list for you to consider. First, you want to use real people. Not images of stock images, but you want to use those real people. And if it's people within your company, your real customers, even better. But you want to stop the scroll as much as possible. So use things like color, which we'll talk a little bit more on later. But it's really, really important to make sure that in half of a second or less, people are getting the main idea of what it is that you're showing. So you can stop the thumb. Next one is embrace white space. Don't feel like you have to fill the entire board of whatever it is that you're designing.
Like with just my whole face,
Yes,
is
yeah.
what you're saying.
Yeah, sometimes less is more.
Right.
Contrast is really important, and you can use some good color contrast using the Coolers tool. So that's a good way to get some good contrast going. Color and font consistency, also talking about font families. So with this one, you want to stick with your brand kind of guidelines as much as you can, using your own logo, your own colors as much as you can, but every once in a while throwing in a fun pop of a highlight color is a good way to
I think
do
like
that.
when I was looking through our slides, I was thinking about college, which for me was a long time ago, and thinking like when we'd write reports or even have to design a website back then, like when there was a font, it was like Times New Roman, right? That was the bomb font that everybody used. But there wasn't really a lot of variations of different fonts. And now like you'll see a font, but then they'll have it in all these different variations. Does that make sense? Like it's the same name of the font, but then there's
A family.
like bold and a whole family.
It's condensed.
Yeah,
Just
so
different
it like
versions.
it helps it still be cohesive, but it makes it not look like you're just using the exact same font the entire time, which is
Absolutely.
boring,
Heck yeah.
right?
And then last one is just keep your text under 20% overlay. If you're using, especially an ad, paying for an ad on Facebook, you have to keep your text overlay under 20% coverage on that graphic. So that's a good thing to keep in mind. People don't want to just read a bunch of text.
Yeah.
Alrighty, moving on. The thing I just mentioned here is that Facebook text ratio checker. There's a URL here at the bottom of the screen. So you can type this into your web browser and you can upload a JPEG and it will tell you how much text overlay you have. So if it is over 20%, it'll tell you, and then you should definitely consider revising it because you don't want that.
Yeah, because Facebook, it'll affect your delivery,
Yeah.
with Facebook and your approval of getting those ads moved forward. So that's something you definitely want to be cognizant of.
And even if they do approve it and your text overlay is high, it could still run, but it just doesn't run as well as it should, which means you are spending money that you don't necessarily have to spend.
Yeah.
So text overlay low. Alrighty, talking about design tools. So these are, again, tips for non-designers. These are tools made for people that,
She looked at me when she said non-designer.
There's a lot of people out there that, don't have an exact, design background, but do a really good job of using these types of tools. I think the main one that we've all heard of or used a lot of is Canva. It's a great tool. There's a free version and a paid version. And these are all very similar to Canva. I'm partial to Canva, but there's also PicMonkey, Easel, Stencil, and Visme. So give them a try if you need to. Video is king, so that's really important these days. So
That's why we're here,
yes,
right?
exactly.
Doing video.
Yeah, we're here on video. So obviously video is better than still images. We see that time and time again, that videos perform better than stills. Obviously, you want to keep it short and sweet. Think about your own usage when you're on social media. You're not watching the 2-minute videos. In fact, so my brother-in-law, he likes to send these videos that are like 10 minutes long, and I'm like, I don't have time for that.
Right?
So ideally you want to keep it within 15 to 30 seconds if possible. Sometimes there's applications where you do need more than that, and that's totally understandable, but you just want to make sure that if you can get your message across in 15 seconds or less, that's the sweet spot.
Unless you're my children that are 6 and 10, and they will watch 30 minutes worth of absolute wasted space. Like these YouTube videos they watch, I'm like, what? Like, what is happening? And like for 30 minutes they're watching it, and I'm over here just in the back, astounded, and I've gotten 28 things done, in that time, and it just
Mind boggles me too.
whole different generation, y'all.
For sure. And ideally with video, you want to keep the first few seconds really striking. Again, you're thinking about stopping the thumb. You want to make sure that whatever it is going to be most visually striking, or if there's audio with it, you want to make sure that whatever is in those first few seconds is there. Give them the meat and potatoes up front. And with that note, captioning is really important. A lot of people, majority of people, are watching videos on social with the sound off. So that means that you need to add captions or other text overlays to your videos to make sure that those people that are watching with sound off can still enjoy it and get the point, get the message across.
We call that creeping on Facebook, where like you scroll, because I do that. Like there's times that like I'll scroll and I'll see a video and I just want to get a little taste of it first and see if I want to actually click in it, but I don't want them to like know, I'm watching it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then you just kind of watch it without the sound. And that captioning is huge because like if I don't know what's going on in the video either, then there's a chance that I might not even want to click on it at all.
It's funny the amount of like commitment you feel when you like watching the video without clicking on it, and you're like, I'm not that committed to this video. Like,
and
I
then
don't
when you
want to go all
click
the way
in there,
into it.
it's like this level of anxiety just goes through.
Talk about generation. I don't know.
Yeah.
So next one is garner emotion. Obviously do this whenever you can with any of your social strategies. If you can play into people's emotions and kind of speak to them on that level, that will definitely help you more than anything that's kind of salesy or super informational.
Yeah.
And last one here is video is visual. So you want to keep your text overlay light if you can, but again, make sure that you're getting the point across as you need to and use impactful imagery. So.
Yeah, I think that the cool thing about video too is it tells a story. Like if I tried to do a post with just a picture sometimes and just post that, like I'm not able to tell that same story, and the amount of emotion again that I feel when I look at a picture versus when I watch a story or a video, which is thousands of pictures put together. It's just crazy how much different emotionally I feel, toward that ad. So
for sure. So again, these are video tools for non-video producers, we'll say. So again, these are, some of them are free, some of them are paid. So, use whichever ones, apply best to you and your business. My personal favorite is Adobe Rush, but that is not a free one. I love it. It's super easy to use. So if you do have the creative suite at your business, which includes Photoshop and Illustrator, Adobe Rush probably comes with it. So love that one. The other ones on here are mostly free. Wave.video, Animoto, Canva is starting to roll out some new video options as well, which is really cool. Just a few different ones here you can look into yourselves. So,
cool. I like these ideas because my idea of having to make a video for myself is open the Snapchat app and use it for 10 seconds and then download the video. So it's a video.
Yeah, it works.
So not the same thing.
Yeah. I like the tools that have templates built into them too. So you're not necessarily starting from scratch. You can kind of just plug in your own videos and pictures and overlays, and it's still a really great production. So
they might make us non-video producers look way cooler, right?
Yeah, Canva has some really good templates on that topic. Moving on to captioning tools. Like we've been talking about, it's really important to add captions to your videos for social because most people are enjoying it with the sound off. So these are some websites that you can use to add captions to your videos as well.
I will say, one tip too with captioning, some of them will allow you, they'll auto caption, and then others, you can put in your own captions. Be very, very cognizant about reading through those captions and watching it, because if you've ever met autocorrect on your phone with typing, it is the same thing with those caption tools, and you might say some stuff you did not intend to say.
I've seen it many times.
Me too. So just
I'd repeat them, but there's some of them are not really appropriate for this.
Bleep. Right? Jason's gonna bleep us out.
Yeah. So Facebook does have an auto captioning tool built into it. So if you are just doing Facebook, I'd say just use the tool that's on there. These tools are good if you're doing, you want the captions on the video itself because you're sharing it across multiple places. So.
Cool.
Alrighty, this is one of my new favorites for this year, is automated messaging.
Because it's very personal to you.
Yes, I don't know.
Saves you a lot of time.
Heck yeah, who else out there manages social media pages and is trying to reply to people all times of the day? It's not fun. So, automated messaging has been a really great thing for me personally. There are messaging apps and also social media apps to keep in mind with this. For me personally, in my work applications, for me that's Facebook primarily. We haven't really dove into any of the others yet, but chatting is better than phone calls. So I think we can, I shouldn't say all of us, but a lot of us can agree with this. I know me personally, I would much rather, when I go on a website and I need help, customer service, I would so much rather chat with someone before I get on, and try to call them. Because you're probably gonna have to wait in line forever. And
I will stalk the entire website. Yes. If I have an item that got shipped that didn't arrive or something like that, I will literally go through all these pages. And I always look at the bottom corner. Yeah. For some reason, I always think it's gonna be there.
It should be there.
But I'm and then I'm going to the contact us and looking for a chat option of any sort. And with Facebook Messenger too, I would rather, even just yesterday, we're gonna go try out a new barbecue restaurant. And instead of calling them, I went to Facebook and sent a message and said, do we need reservations? It's just
Don't you
much
love when you get a
easier.
response too? When they're
Oh,
like
that's
actually
neat.
somebody on the
And
other
a
side.
fast response.
Yes,
is
and
even
automated
better.
messages will set you up to just
man.
really please people.
I should tell them that for you.
You should.
Aubree said.
Exactly. So chatbots and automated messaging can kind of be lumped into the same conversations, but they're not necessarily the same things. Like there's lots of degrees of advanced options. But anyway, chatbots can be used to qualify leads, capture information, you can schedule appointments, you can generate signups, and it's just an easier way to have these conversations with clients, customers, patients, whatever it might be. So
Yeah, absolutely.
automated questions. This again is that thing that's just really saving me tons of time. So these are some automated questions we've set up on our Nex-Tech Facebook page as a telecommunications company. These are some questions that we get asked a lot. First one is, I have an issue with my internet or TV service. Can you help? And of course, these always come in on the weekends or in the evenings when I'm trying to do something else. So this has really saved me tons of time. So when people click that little arrow to send this automatic question, they get this automatic response, which tells them, oh, we're sorry, it's not working for you. You'll need to talk to our help desk. Here's their phone number. Also, here's a link to chat with them because we know people like to chat. So that helps them out. We thank them for being a customer, and they've got a great experience. They've got everything that they needed instantly, and I didn't have to be bothered with it.
And they didn't even have to type the question out themselves, because when they pulled up the messenger box, before they even had to type, my internet's out or something, it pops up with suggestions and says, gives you different choices of questions you can click. So literally, it's like the one-click Amazon gone shopping. It was just like, boom, opened it, clicked. They answered me already, done.
Yep.
I mean,
It's,
wow.
It's great for everyone involved, both sides of it.
Super good for efficiency and getting time back in your day.
Absolutely.
We all would love more of that.
There's a lot of applications for this depending on your business and your industry. Your list of questions will be totally different from the next. So you just kind of have to think about what it is that you're getting a lot of. This question number 2 on here is, we'd like to learn more about Nex-Tech services. Do you have a website? Yes, here's a link to it. So people can answer a lot more of their questions on our website than what I can help them with after hours on chat.
Yeah, I mean, a good way to think of what questions to probably put, or just think, or even ask whoever is answering the phones at your organization, what are the questions that you get asked the most? Or maybe it's, can I schedule an appointment? And they can let them know what the number is to do that. Or, I mean, obviously, again, with HIPAA things, there's differences with asking for information on there or whatever, but there's nothing against sharing how to contact you.
And the point of qualifying leads is right with that. So you could at least get somebody to the point where that they actually truly want to schedule an appointment with you and follow up with a phone call that way. So
Exactly.
Yep. On the topic of automatic questions, we've got automated responses. So these are some other ones that have saved me lots of time also. So the first one here, the first screenshot, is what people get responded to them in Messenger if they give us a bad rating or don't recommend us. You know how you can do that on Facebook. So if that happens, we say, we're so sorry. We'd love to know more about your experience so that we can fix it. And then the one on the far right side too is the opposite of that. So if people do recommend us, they do give us a good rating, they get this message that says, thank you for recommending us. We're glad you had a great experience. We'd love to send you an extra special thank you from us. Please reply with your account name or address so we know where to send it. And then we send them usually a postcard with a coupon or some sort of a little gift to thank them for reviewing us. So.
Yeah, because reviews are powerful.
Heck
I mean, that's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole other PowerPoint.
But yeah, exactly. A whole other PowerPoint that Aubrey's going to build, not me.
But they are powerful. So yeah. Move on here. So the pro hack for setting up automated responses, there are a few different places you can do this on your own Facebook pages. The link down here at the bottom of the screen is the link where you can go to the Facebook kind of lessons page, where they'll kind of show you how to do it and some instances where it might be most helpful for you. So,
yeah, and most of the links that we share on the pro hacks, especially for Facebook, we try to use the Facebook business legit instead of using third parties because, Facebook obviously is Facebook, so I'd rather share that information that we know also they're going to update, as time goes on as well. And surely Facebook will never make a change to anything ever again because they never do that. But if they do, obviously it's like an automatic update on there, right?
Absolutely. So. It's important. Yeah, get the news straight from the source.
Yes.
Alrighty, so we'll talk about ads a little bit right now. So which ad should I run? I get that question a lot.
Yes.
So to help you answer that question, a really cool tool that you can use is split testing. Again, this is really becoming a really big thing this year and kind of started last year. But split testing is when you can take marketing campaigns and test them against each other to analyze which one will deliver the best results. Sounds simple. So some different things that you can use as variables to test against each other are the creative, which is like the picture or the video itself in the ad. You can test text, so your caption, your headline text on the ad itself. And you can also test audience and placement. So audience is like the towns you're targeting or the gender, the age, the interest, whoever it is that's seeing it. You can try different things with a split test there and determine which audience is worth more revenue. It brings you more revenue.
Yeah.
And then placement is just all the different places that Facebook can put an ad when they're delivering it. So you can say, I don't want to show this campaign on Instagram at all. And you can see if by doing that, your like cost per click rates come down, that kind of thing. You just kind of compare.
I think of how much time I've spent before too, going back to time, just, man, should I run this or should I run this? Should I run a static image or a video? Or does this text make a difference? Like it's amazing how long sometimes we'll sit there and pick it apart and kind of ponder that. So I love that instead of putting all your eggs in one basket necessarily, that you can have both going, and then you're going to know, within a few days. I mean, you'll be able to instantaneously look at your results, but you're going to know, okay, this one's engaging better, we'll go with that one.
It takes the guesswork out of it.
Yeah.
I've sat through a few different trainings on split testing specifically, and I think the big takeaway from almost all of the trainings is that your instinct, your first guess, your assumption on what will work better almost always is wrong. So, by doing a split test, you'll prove yourself wrong a lot, which is not a bad thing. It kind of helps you learn and figure out what works best for you and your company. So,
yeah, cool.
Yep. Don't just assume. That's the message. Some examples of split tests. These are some ones that we've done here at Nex-Tech. This is a very, very simple split test, kind of just to get your feet wet kind of a thing. The only difference between these two ads is the text at the top. It's the exact same video. The headline, the text by the call to action button, that's the same. So it's just that top line of text. Very, very simple thing to test against each other. And then these are the results of that split test. So ad A was on the left, ad B was on the right. This was a small budget at $31 each. And you can just see the results and the cost per click rates on those two ads. So not a huge difference, but it's enough to say, all right, that's almost 10 clicks more, on ad A. Like, why did that?
And it was the one with
better?
less text, right? On the top, the left one?
I think so. I think so. So so that definitely, kind of opens your eyes to what works better. And then, once you test the text, then I could take it a step further and say, okay, let's test a different video or something different.
Cool.
So, you can go down a whole rabbit hole.
That's the great thing with digital in general too, is that if you print something, once it's printed, it's there. You really can't go back and change it. Whiteout only does so much, but with digital, you can make those changes right away. If you post something and see it's not working right away, well, let's try a different video or different text, and then you can see how it's performing against, how your others have performed. So It's exciting.
Is. So setting up split testing for yourself. Again, here's a link to the Facebook lesson page. So it'll give you a little bit more information on tips and how to create split testing campaigns and how to do them in your own ads manager. Alrighty. So did the ads convert?
That's important because bosses especially want to know, did the money that you asked me for in that budget for those ads that you were going to run, how'd they do? Did I get my money?
Right.
Money's worth, right?
Also, we'll talk a little bit about on what conversions or converting is. Sometimes people aren't aware of that phrase, but getting people to convert is just taking the action that you're requesting them to take with the ad, whether that's getting them to click to your website, getting them to sign up, getting them to provide you their information. So there's a lot of different things on what a conversion is. It's different for every campaign, but conversion means they completed the action that you wanted them to complete, basically.
Yeah. So they did what they were told? Yeah. Does that ever happen?
No. So a tool that a lot of marketers are using now is the Facebook Pixel. love the Pixel. You get so much good data from it. This is another kind of advanced tip as well. But Facebook Pixel is a little bit of code that you install on your website, and then it allows Facebook to collect data using cookies that allows you to track conversions, sales, signups, that type of thing. And it not only does it give you good metrics on what your ad that's running or did run, how it did, it also allows you to have some information for future ads, which the bullet there, future ad prep, that's what that means. So the example here that we have on the screen is a couple of campaigns that we ran for our Great Bend fiber overbuild project. So the action that we wanted people to do, there's two columns here, interest confirmation and sign up confirmation, and we have the Pixel installed on that site. So that means if people completed the interest confirmation form, they are marked here in that first column that's circled, the 11 and 59, so a total of 70 signups, basically. I shouldn't say signups, but the next column is actual signing up, so that people can show their interest for fiber, and then once they've reached a certain point, they can actually sign up for it. It's kind of complicated, but basically, we're able to very clearly track how many people completed the actions on our website that we requested, and then we can go, to our bosses and say, look, for the amount that you invested on this is the exact return, and it's a really good way to track everything. And then another piece of it is retargeting, so you can target those people again that did sign up, or you can exclude them from future campaigns as well. That's a whole rabbit hole.
Right. Well, I think it's so nice to take that a step further because, as marketers, just because I got 1,000 views or whatever, 1,000 impressions and 90 clicks, well, that's all fine and dandy. But again, did it convert? Did those people actually do the CTA, the call to action? Did they sign up? Did they, and you get to set what that conversion is, right? You get to choose, do I consider a conversion just visiting our website, or is it, signing up this form or the contact us form or whatever? But that's when you really start figuring out, are these just blank clicks that were accidental, or, got a little brand awareness, or were these people hot leads that actually went the next step to fill something out?
They call those vanity metrics. Just plain clicks or impressions, reach, that kind of thing. Vanity metrics.
I like that.
Yeah, so they're great numbers to have and know, and they help tell part of the story, but they don't tell the whole story. So.
Exactly.
Anyway, so the pro hack here for setting up a Facebook Pixel, you will need some help from your website developer, whoever that is, to get this code added to your website. But once it's there and you've got it set up, it's pretty hands-off. But anyway, this is the link to, again, the Facebook lessons page where you can learn how to create and install a Facebook Pixel on your website. Alrighty, feeling risky. Are you feeling risky now?
Not that risky. I just saw that come across.
It's funny. TikTok. It's a little risky sometimes. No. And there's a lot of different conversations we could have about TikTok, but it is really hot this year. It really started to trend in 2019, and it is taking off in 2020. The future of it, I don't know. We're not talking about that right now. We're just going to talk about the popularity it has right now, because it does have a lot of popularity.
Oh, yeah.
And that's in the stats. So in 2019, there were 738 million downloads of the TikTok app. Wowza, that's a lot. 49% of users are 35 and older. So that kind of, a lot of people think, oh, it's just the kids, just the young kids.
I'm a kid still,
on
Aubree.
TikTok. Are you on
35
TikTok?
and up is still a kid.
The other thing about TikTok that I think really sets it apart from other social platforms is its algorithm. It has a very, very smart algorithm. And the more that I use TikTok myself personally, this is, shown to me. One thing with that is it is so specific, and it knows exactly what you like and don't like. So my husband, who's also on TikTok, he'll be like, did you see this video of blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, no, not even close.
Not even a little bit.
No, did not at all. And he'll show me these things that he thinks are just absolutely hilarious, which I think we usually have a pretty similar sense of humor. But it's just so funny to me, because it's usually not that funny to me, that he just loves it. And the algorithm has just got him pegged and knows what he loves. Meanwhile, mine does too.
It makes it addictive, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you, just one more video. Oh, I love this. One more video. And so you never leave, which is the next stat. The average user spends 61 minutes per day on TikTok. Wow. That's a lot of time. With the sound up. That is huge.
Ooh.
Huge. So most social platforms, people are watching with the sound off. Think about your time on Instagram and Facebook. you don't want to be bothered with the annoying sounds that come from that.
I remember, like, I swear it was like a year ago or 2 years ago, the first I ever even heard of TikTok. It was, my son had a sleepover at one of his friends' houses, and they have a big brother that's like 10 years older than them, you know, so he's like in high school or like 8 years older. Well, anyway, they were like making music videos, you know, using these funny TikTok, and I was like, what in the world, like, is that? And I was like, no way, never happening. And it's funny how that, look how much it's evolved since then, and what a powerhouse it's, you know, it's becoming.
It really
and
has.
it's caused controversy. I mean, there's a lot of controversy, you know, over it that, like you said, we will not go into today, but it's...
There's just uncertainty with everything else
the
in the world.
growth is incredible just over a short amount of time like that.
Absolutely. So the message here with this one is it is popular. People are joining it. People of all ages, not just kids. So if you join now, if you get on TikTok now, you will... you know, have the edge over your other marketers, your competition, and potentially could help you with your future sales. So kind of on the topic of videos and stories, we want to talk a little bit about what happens to your brain when you watch stories. Stories can be things like TikTok or Snapchat, Instagram stories, they're all over. We'll talk about that a little bit more later, but we want to talk about the chemicals that are released within your brain when you're watching stories. First is cortisol, which helps us remember. Dopamine keeps us engaged, and oxytocin helps with empathy and connection. So for all of the health people out there, they probably know more about that
I need
than
a lot of
but
cortisol. I go into a lot of rooms. I'm like, what did I just go in here for? So if I could get some cortisol, that would be great.
Make a shot for that? I have no idea.
I don't know. We're going to find out.
So anyway, why stories? I get asked that a lot because it is kind of a new trending thing. And the answers to those questions, over 500 million users per day are viewing stories. That's a lot. You can overcome the distrust with people by kind of sharing a part of your life with them in a live kind of a video sense. It allows you to be very authentic with your audience and satisfies the algorithm. Which I haven't talked a ton about today with the algorithm besides TikTok, but that's a hard thing to do, is kind of appease the algorithm no matter what platform you're on. So stories really helps you do that. And stories inspire action. And there's a clear call to action, or CTA, with them, which is good. And there's no need to pay for stories. If you do, though, you will have really good results, but they're very free.
Yeah, who doesn't like free stuff? Again, going back to that budget that all of us wish we had more of all the time, right?
Absolutely.
You know, and this adds such a humanized element to, especially as a business, you know, having people feel like they're doing business with someone instead of doing business with a business, you know, helping add that authenticity and that trust and just that emotion, going back to that garnering emotion, you know, it just helps garner that emotion towards your brand as well.
Yeah. This is, I feel like, easier for small businesses to do than like your large corporations or something like a big hospital. I could totally see where this is harder to do, but that doesn't mean it's impossible. Sometimes you just have to empower the right person to be the person to do this. So I think that's a big part of it. So first thing you have to do is choose a stories platform. I listed here beginner level is Instagram, Facebook, which are kind of together, and Snapchat. So that's a really great place to start. And then the next level would be things like TikTok and, drum roll please, Instagram Reels, which
More new stuff.
very, very, very new. So not everybody has Reels available yet, as far as I know. So I've been watching a lot of information on what Reels is going to be like and how it's going to affect people. So I'm really excited about Reels.
So be watching for that soon, because that's going to be one of the next probably up and coming.
Yeah, more to come on that one later. Very new. So when you're thinking about what platform to use, you have to ask yourself, where is your audience? Think about your key demographic, your people. Where are they? What platforms are they on? Perfection is not required, so don't feel like you have to re-record and re-record over and over again.
I think people expect that. Like, I think if you're too polished and too perfect on it, people are like, oh, it's a corporate ad.
Right.
It's not that authentic feel to it.
Yep. You can keep them 15 seconds, you know, in that range. It could be longer, it could be shorter, depending on the platform you're using. And then a lot of times stories do disappear after 24 hours, depending on what you're using here, of course. But you can add things to your collections on Instagram as kind of a pro tip as well. So get your feet wet. I suggest starting with Instagram and Facebook because they're kind of tied together, easy to do. Your followers are probably already there. But depending on what you're doing, it could be something else. So
I like too that you can create like that sense of urgency a little bit with your, you know, followers too, where it does disappear disappear after 24 hours. Like if you don't go check this out now, like you might miss something, you know? So.
And I watch stories every day on all of my platforms. And I think that's, I feel like I have to go do that every day.
Right.
Because that content won't be there later. So
Yeah, you might miss something.
Exactly. Something very important.
Yeah. So really the moral of this whole story is that, you know, time is money, but money can't buy time. So we really wanted to put together a lot of things that are up and coming, you know, unique, things that are going to help, again, make your life easier at work. You know, some are apps, some are, you know, website driven, some are just hacks in general, but with things changing all the time, it's like I feel like initially with marketing, even when I graduated college, it was like all you had to manage was like your newspaper ads and your TV ads and radio, and like that was it, you know. And now you think that it's still you're a lot of places one marketing person, and we're talking how many forms of social media and how many, you know, different digital methods and your website and then your traditional media and your direct communication. I mean, it's intense. So finding these tips and tricks that can help save you and give you a little bit of time back in your day is definitely you know, huge. So our contact info is here. Again, Aubree Karlin and Megan Keiswetter. I don't even recognize our names. We both just got married in the last year, so I look at it, I'm like, who are these people?
Strangers.
Right now. But you can call us anytime or email us, and we'll obviously make the slides available as well, you know, for you guys, anybody that wants them. And thanks again for your time. We really appreciate, you know, spending time with you, and hopefully you learned something valuable today. So
Absolutely.
thanks again.
Thanks.
See ya.